Okay, so first video we're going to talk about today is extension. And this tends to be quite problematic for a lot of people. They lose the ability essentially to reach overhead. So they come to see us and we'll give them a basic sort of movement assessment. And we get them to reach overhead, touch the wall behind them, and it becomes problematic. They causes pain into the lower part of the back. And then they think, this is a bad movement for me, I'm no longer going to reach overhead. So let's think about what happens when we do reach overhead. We're supposed to move for the front of the hip here, the hip flexors, and open out. Quite often, because we're static all day long and we're sat down, we've lost the ability to move through here. And secondly, we're designed to extend and move for the thoracic spine here. We've lost the ability to do that because we don't move enough and we become stiff and locked down. So my goal today is to show you some movements you can do to start to open out and mobilise your hip in the front, hip flexor area, and also the middle part of the back that I talked about a minute ago. Then what we're going to do is show you a movement we can put all this together, guys, and that's essentially what we're trying to do at present movement. We're here to educate you into maybe why you're experiencing pain, but more importantly, to show you some exercises you can do to correct some of these issues, get to move better, and then show you an exercise right at the end today where you put all this together, where your whole body works as one unit. And what we want to try and do as you work as one unit, because you're going to move better through these areas, you're going to start to share the load and dissipate force, so all the loads won't continually go through the lower part of your back. So I hope you enjoyed today's videos, and let us know how you get on. So first exercise we're going to talk about is extension. So we're going to think about the ability for your spine to basically extend up and set you up to either reach overhead or to set up to sort of play a racket sport or any movement, guys, where you literally need to have the ability to open up this front chain. So what it's going to look like is this. I'll show you from the side. I'm going to start off, this bone here, my sternum, is going to be elevating up and I'm going to be sort of slightly leaning back. It's a very subtle movement. As I do that, I'm starting to coach my shoulder blades to slightly squeeze together, just to encourage a little bit more extension. At this stage, you can see my hips are reasonably fixed. And as I go to increase the range, I'll get my arms involved, they can be like drivers, and I can increase my extension, and you can see I start to come back a little bit further. My arms start to open out, and my palms start to open out. And if I want to go one step further, I'll get my head involved as well. And I start to lean back as well. So I'm creating a nice stretch down the front here, and I'm just encouraging my body and giving it the ability to extend, and that will set us up very well for the next movement. We'll focus on the hips. So next we'll talk about the ability for the hips to extend. But first of all, guys, I just want to recap some movement at the hip complex itself and recap some sort of pelvic tilting. So what we're looking at, I'll show you from the side again, is hands on the hips. Something we've talked about before, but it's good to recap this stuff before we get into the bigger base stuff later on. So recapping it is a tilt forward, where my bum starts to stick out subtly, and a tilt back where I start to squeeze my bum. And it's just the ability to almost sort of isolate my hips out of the whole unit. And then what I can do is that tilt back as I squeeze my bum, that can set me up for my extension. So as I start to tilt back, squeeze my bum, and start to lean back, and you can see me opening out the front of my hips. Come back to neutral, go again. So you tilt, lean back, and get that extension for the front of the hip. And once that feels comfortable, we can start to develop the range, the speed, or we can take into single leg. In this case, I'll just show you how it's going to look on a single leg. So left leg I'll focus on, start to tilt back and open out this left hip. All the same principles apply, just means that I can get the opportunity to focus on one side of my body at a time. And this will then set us up for a bigger movement later on. So we're linking this all together now, and when I talk about linking this all together, this is the key, guys. This is key for your body to be working as one unit. We can get amazing at being to just tilt the pelvis, amazing at extending the spine, but if you can't get your whole body to talk as a unit, unfortunately it's not really worth a lot. And this is what we're trying to educate people on, is being to break different parts of the body down and then build it up into a bigger movement. So recapping what we talked about already today, I talked a lot about the ability to extend for the spine and the ability to extend for the hips. So now then, the whole movement will be hip extend, spine extends, we'll get the arm involved as if you're reaching over your head, and just a nice subtle lean back there. So I'm opening out the front of my body and just telling my body it's a safe movement to extend. What we'll also do is show you what it looks like in a single leg, or sort of partial weight bearing anyway, not fully single leg. So all weight's on my right leg here, my right arm's going to get involved, and that literally in your head, imagine you're reaching for something with your right hand. So I'm reaching up, coming through. reaching up and coming through. And the goal is for your body to use all the movement you've created earlier on in today's videos and put it all together into one unit. Hope you really enjoy the videos today, guys, and give us any feedback with any issues that you're having and anything else you'd like us to work on in the future.